Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Only Trade to Win. I do not have any stock tips for you. I do not have any recommendations to buy or sell anything. But what I do have is a methodology that took 25 years to put together. And one thing that I'd like to share with you at the basics that every trader and investor must master before moving on to advanced strategies. All the stuff we talk about here is super basic. And I hope to make it as simple as possible to understand. So last time we talked about the fact that Nasdaq and the Dow hit their all-time highs and the S&P came very close to its all-time high, and our sick man Russell far away from its 52-week highs. This is where we started following it, and as of today it still has 20% to go. But what a nice move for the weakest index. So this completes our last two videos when we looked at our indexes, and now we can go and look at our stocks. This is our watch list that we updated last time at the beginning of the month. Column number 1 color coded so I can see right away that Nvidia was the strongest, Meta was number 2, and Tesla number 3 as a performance year to date. I also color coded column number 5 that showed the performance for the month of November, so I can see that Tesla was the strongest one, followed by Nvidia, and the third one was Apple. Again, color coding allows me just to look at a lot of information and quickly pick out the most important things that I need to without wasting my time and energy on having to look up the same information over and over. And I strongly recommend that you adapt some kind of color coding system for yourself. That way you'll have a lot of time and attention to spend looking for important things. In just about a week we'll have to do our first annual review along with the month of December. So what I did was I built a separate spreadsheet just for today. Right next to column number 2 you can see Christmas, and in this column I put in the values at which our stocks traded on the last trading day before Christmas. The column number 5 is showing the performance for the month, and we can see that Meta is the strongest, followed by Google, and Tesla is in the third place. One thing that I noticed right away is that Microsoft and Apple are the only two stocks that didn't go anywhere yet. So the first thing that I want to do is actually go to those two and see what's going on in the pictures. Our first stop is Apple. This is a weekly picture, and again I call them pictures because I think that charts are too permanent and there is nothing permanent in the markets. So to stay flexible I pick flexible words, and it's just my own preference. So looking at the weekly picture for Apple, we can see that the stock just made its 52-week high and all-time high again. And here, since it's only happened a few days ago, we have to go to our daily picture. And again, you can see here was the previous all-time high back in July of this year. Again, we close above 3 days. So Apple traded and closed above its all-time high, establishing a new all-time high. As we said before, the stock is super strong. I put in this little area. I think it would be really nice if we can get a pullback all the way here, but I really don't think that we'll get that much of a pullback, because if you look at the previous level right here at 191, it just pretty much stayed horizontal. This is not even a pullback. Before all-time highs, and here's one example where you can see divergence on the RSI. If we look at this level of November the 23rd and we just draw a line like this, you can see that it's sloping up. If we go down to the same spot on the RSI, you can see that the RSI is sloping down. So the price for Apple is going up even when there is some distribution going on in the stock. And since we're sitting under its all-time high, the most likely thing that everyone is looking for is for Apple to consolidate here and make new highs like this and like this. And we're hoping that we may get a pullback into this area. So I go back to my watch list, and I know that there is nothing unusual that is going on with Apple. It's just sitting under its all-time highs and it's consolidating and it's thinking about what it's going to do next. Now I'm going to jump to Microsoft, because Microsoft actually was the leader out of all the technology and Nasdaq stocks running from its lows of end of October. Here is a weekly picture of Microsoft, and as I just mentioned that it's been a leader for technology stocks this year. The blue line is where it started its year. Microsoft made its all-time high in July and did not sell off as much as all other stocks and indexes, and it actually was the first one that made its all-time high again right here in November, and it actually traded more than 10% above the previous all-time high. So Microsoft was definitely the strongest stock out of all of the stocks that hit all-time highs in the past month. And if we look at this little area, we can tell that it's consolidating and it's not pulling back much. If we go to the bottom of the previous move, we can see that it moved up more than 20%, and yet it is still sitting in this little area. It cannot come back in even to this green dotted line, which is previous 52-week high. So Microsoft is super strong. Let's go take a look inside of this structure structure. This is our daily picture, same thing here. The stock is being accumulated near its all-time highs, as you can tell by how little it is actually pulling back from its all-time highs. A stock that ran up 70 points cannot even come back 10. Is super strong. So we go back to our watch list and we don't even make a notice because nothing is wrong with Microsoft and Apple. Now let's take a look at Meta, our leader for this month so far. Meta is our comeback champion. This is the end of our show from about 3 weeks ago. And again, it was the stock that dropped more than 75% last year. And this year it was already up 168%. And again, since we have those numbers on the screen, number one is all-time high that was set back in September 2021. Number two is the lowest point for the sell-off. After 426 days, it dropped from $378 a share to 87. It reversed, starting its run on January 1st of its year. Here is number three, and that's the phenomenal rise. Area number four was the area from which previous sell-off began, so we marked that area and we said we have to be careful and watch and see if there are any sellers that will come in at the same level. And now we need to go look at it a little bit closer. What we can see on the daily picture that the stock ran up right under that resistance area, pulled back, ran into this resistance area, pulled back again, and then it broke into the resistance area. With a lesser pullback, it ran straight through all the resistance area and now it's sitting on its top, indicating strength in Meta. Last time we looked at it, we noticed that we only had 17% to go to its all-time highs. And now we only have about 6% more. And Meta will trade at its all-time highs. And normally when the stocks trade in their all-time high territory, they run away. We have not experienced much of that this year except with Microsoft, but it will be very interesting to see how Meta finishes its year because it would be a great example that anything is possible in the markets. That even a stock that is up 168% on the year can still go a lot higher. And in about a week, we'll see on how much higher it was able to go because we have only 1 week left before the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen. And it will be really exciting to see where they all finish because nobody expected that reversal at the beginning of the year across the board. Nasdaq, the Dow, crypto, everything just went up. It went from the worst possible situation to pretty much best possible situation. So to finish this off, Meta is looking really, really strong. It has a little bit left to go to all-time highs and nobody could imagine this at the beginning of the year because at the beginning of the year it was down at number 3, about a third of its today's value. So navigate with care. Imagine that anything that can happen in the markets, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.